It's special, all right. I do wonder if I'm going to miss this. Welcome back to Phil Ryder's Diaries. So, missed this, you say? And what exactly are you going to miss? Well, I'm afraid it's going to be all of it, because I made the rather shrewd decision, or foolish decision, time will tell, to move to the French Pyrenees. Now, to those of you who have followed my channel will know that I've been there a number of times. About this time last year I went on a motorcycle, and I thought back then, you know what, there is a lifestyle here that I really think I would enjoy. But, you know, it's moving to another country, it's learning another language, trying to fit into the community, trying to find work, all of that good stuff. And I guess better the devil you know. And the devil I knew at the time was the UK and my job. And I guess towards the end of last year I really had to kind of admit that it wasn't working out for me. Of course I did my usual thing, I went to Goa, came back from Goa, got my usual job back, none of that was a problem for the first couple of months, and then problems did begin to creep in, most notably surrounding work. And I won't go into the do's and don'ts of it. I don't think that's really fair to go company bashing. As far as any big company is concerned, they didn't do anything wrong. It was more of myself and not being able to meet the requirement that they were asking for, even if that requirement in my mind seemed unfair. And for those who don't know, I'm a van driver. I just do the online grocery delivery. It's a lot of fun, I enjoyed it a lot. But there's no getting away from the fact that it can be a lot of physical hard work. And all I wanted was the time to be able to do that physical hard work, and that wasn't provided. So you have one of two choices: you either make do and struggle on, or you get out. And I made done and struggled on for as long as I felt was sensibly reasonable. The problem when you have less and less time is that you end up rushing more. Now, to rush in your job is no big deal. A lot of people do that. They have anxieties and pressures like everybody else. But to rush around roads like this, for instance, in a 3.5 ton van, especially through tourist season where everybody is here for any other reason than for looking out for 3.5 ton vans. Everyone's looking at the scenery or the mountains or the lakes, or they're excited for being here. And at worst, an accident was going to happen. And at best, I was going to end up hurting myself. And as it so turned up, I ended up hurting myself. I had a problem with the back. It was a new problem, it was one I hadn't expected, and that was like the warning shot across the bows. Now, I'd kind of seen this coming. The house had been on the market since August, it sold very quickly, and my contract gets signed in about 2 weeks' time. So this could very well be my last run around the lakes, being stuck behind a Qashqai, doing 25 miles an hour. It's not really how you want to do it. On the upside, there's a new lifestyle waiting in the south of France. Now, I'm very fortunate, I've got a friend down there. She seems very keen to help me blend into their way of life. Her family are very accommodating. It gives me a good feeling that this is achievable. And it's an adventure, it's something new, it's something different. I've been in the lakes now for 6 years, and for the best part it's been great. But I think it's time to move on. I always say there's times in life for everything that you want to do. There's times for clubbing, and there's times for travelling in the world, and there's times for concentrating on job and career and family and all those sorts of things. And maybe this is my time to live in another country. Well, I bloody hope so, because that's what's happening. Now the transition will go something like this. I'll leave the Lake District second week of November, by all accounts. I'll go down, I'll see some family and friends in Essex. I'll ride the VFR 750 across to the south of France. I'll stay with my friend there for a week or two, come back for Christmas, take off for Goa for January and February, and then come mid-February, instead of returning to the UK, I return to France. And then we see what opportunities that holds for me. Now, I'm not going into this blind, and I know it's going to take a certain amount of work. I have shit on the road. I have survival French as my language. That's basically it. I can say a few things I don't understand particularly well, but I've always believed that the only way to actually learn a language truly is to immerse yourself in it 24/7, and then after, who knows, 6 months, 2 years, 6 years, whatever it might be, I might be a member of the community, I might have this language nailed down, and that would be a very good thing indeed. 2 years time I'll be 50. 2 years time we're supposed to be leaving Europe, and that poses up another question. What does Brexit hold for me? Is it going to allow me to stay in the country? And all these questions, they're largely unanswered. But what I do know is I could spend the next 5 or 6 years waiting for government to sort out whether this is possible or that's possible. And you know what? I think I'd rather just do it and then see what happens at the time. It's a big risk financially. Selling the property, I've got money tied up in the property. That's a good thing because it will give me a head start when I go to France. And the cost of living and the cost of properties in the south of France is significantly cheaper than what it is in the UK, which makes me think that if I can get away with 25 hours minimum wage in the UK, and certainly 25 hours minimum wage in France, should be a doddle. But these are all things to be worked out as you go. It's almost like learning on the job, only the job is life and the learning is the adoption of a new country. What's going to happen when France plays England in the World Cup? Well, I don't know. That's a lie, I do know. I'll be wearing my red and white. But I have a fondness for France, always have had. And whereas the UK is familiar and to a degree a lot easier and more comfortable, France has a better climate. The region is astonishing countryside. I cannot explain to you just how attractive the Pyrenees are. And just looking online today where it's 11 or 12 degrees here in Cumbria and it's 25 in, I don't know, Toulouse, Pau, Bayonne, anywhere down there. My friend tells me that every single day, at least one day in the month, in every single month, she can sit outside with a glass of wine, enjoy the countryside, this sort of thing. And it staggered my friend and her family to learn that in the Cumbria, I would say we get maybe 8 weeks of good weather throughout the year. 2 months, that's it. So this is a very much a choice made by the heart rather than the head in so many ways. Looking for that better quality of life, not just better in terms of what you're looking for, but better for longevity, better for anxiety, for stress, for all of these things. There's many facets to life, and it's not just about the pounds and the pence. So there we go, Fire Riders Diaries number 55, and it looks like it could be the last one. So I'll leave you, and maybe the next film rider you'll hear will be Journal de Ferlader, and I'll tell you all about that as and when it happens. So take care everybody, and I'll speak to you sometime soon.